Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to read another compilation of 3 Peppa Pig stories, starting with Numbers. Peppa and her friends are at playgroup. Today we will be learning about numbers, says Madame Gazelle. Does anybody know what numbers are used for? We use numbers to count, says Peppa. That's very good, Peppa, says Madame Gazelle. Numbers are used for counting. Now, who would like to try some counting? Pedro Pony counts to 4. Rebecca Rabbit counts all the way to 7. Excellent, Pedro and Rebecca. After 7 comes 8, 9 and 10, says Madame Gazelle. It is playtime. Rebecca, Zoe Zebra, Susie Sheep and Peppa all like to skip. I like sand, I like sea, I like Susie to skip with me, sings Peppa. I like ping, I like pong, I like Zoe to skip along, bah, sings Susie. Let's see who can skip the longest without stopping, says Zoe. I'll count, says Rebecca. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Peppa is out. 6, 7, 8. Susie is out. 9, 10. Zoe is the winner. Pedro is hula hooping. I can do 1,000,003 hula hoops without stopping, says Pedro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He has stopped hula hooping. I'm a bit tired, says Pedro. I'll do the rest later. Emily Elephant has a special way of hula hooping. She hula hoops with her trunk. The hoop spins round and round and round. It's too fast to count. I think that was about 100, says Susie. George wants to play leapfrog. Leapfrog, everybody, cries Peppa. Richard Rabbit, Edmund Elephant, Susie, Rebecca, Peppa, Emily, Candy Cat, Danny Dog, Zoe and Pedro line up. There are 10 children for George to jump over. George begins to jump and everyone counts along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. George has jumped over everyone. George is very good at playing leapfrog. Now playtime is over and the children must return to the classroom. Daddy Pig has come to collect Peppa and George. He is very early, but Madame Gazelle doesn't mind. Don't worry, you can join in our game, she says. Richard and Edmund, please get the extra long skipping rope. Is everybody ready? Let's count to 10, says Madame Gazelle. 1. Daddy Pig is skipping. 2. Now Peppa is skipping too. 3. Susie joins them. Madame Gazelle plays her guitar as the children join in one by one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, count Daddy Pig and the children. It is much easier to count to 10 if you are playing a game at the same time. Simple science. It is playtime at Rebecca's playgroup, but the playground is already busy. Stop! Shouts Mr. Bull. Mr. Bull, what are you doing to our playground? Asks Peppa. We're digging it up, replies Mr. Bull. Mr. Bull loves digging. Daddy Pig arrives. He has planned the new playground using maths and science. Today, children, I'm going to teach you some simple science, says Daddy Pig. Can you guess how many of you it would take to lift Madame Gazelle? It is time to find out the answer. Peppa cannot lift Madame Gazelle. Peppa and Danny Dog cannot lift Madame Gazelle. But Peppa, Danny and Susie Sheep can do it together. It takes 3 children to lift Madame Gazelle. We just did some simple science, says Daddy Pig. Now, please make a tower of blocks. Rebecca Rabbit, Pedro Pony, Zoe Zebra and Emily Elephant make a stack of 5 blocks. Very good, says Daddy Pig. But the tower looks a bit wobbly. Does anyone know how we can make the tower less wobbly? Asks Daddy Pig. Put the big blocks at the bottom and the small blocks at the top, suggests Edmund Elephant. Edmund is a clever clogs. Well done, Edmund, says Daddy Pig. That's right. The children go outside again. "Who can tell me what we need to make a muddy puddle?" asks Daddy Pig. "Dirt and water, Matt," says Susie. Daddy Pig makes a puddle and asks Peppa to test it. "This puddle is too dry," she sighs. Daddy Pig adds more water to the puddle. "Please jump again, Peppa," he says. "The puddle is just right," cheers Peppa. All the children jump up and down in the puddle. "Making muddy puddles is a bit like making concrete," says Daddy Pig. "We're using concrete to make your new playground," says Daddy Pig. "It starts off wet and soft like mud, then it sets and goes hard forever." The big mixer pours concrete into the hole. Daddy Pig jumps in and stirs the concrete with his spade. "Now it's gloopy like custard," he tells the children. "Soon it will set as hard as rock." "Daddy Pig, I think you should step out of there," warns Mr. Bull. The concrete sets hard. "All thanks to a bit of simple science," says Daddy Pig. "Now, Mr. Bull, what were you saying?" "I was trying to say that you should get out before the concrete sets," answers Mr. Bull. "Ah," says Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig is stuck in the concrete. "Don't worry, Daddy Pig, I'll have you out in a jiffy," says Mr. Bull. "How?" asks Daddy Pig. "I'll dig up the playground," says Mr. Bull. The children love watching Daddy Pig being dug out of concrete. Grandpa Pig's computer. Peppa and George are at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house. Their cuckoo clock is broken. "Can you mend it, please, Grandpa?" asks Peppa. Grandpa Pig is very good at fixing things. Grandpa Pig mends things in his shed. "I'll take a look inside the clock," says Grandpa Pig. He lifts the top off the cuckoo clock. The clock falls apart. "Now it's really broken," cries Peppa. "I wonder if I've got a book on clocks," says Grandpa Pig. He looks on his shelf and finds a book called How Clocks Work. The book tells Grandpa Pig how to fix the clock. "Hooray!" cries Peppa. "The clock is working again." Cuckoo, cuckoo. Later that day, Mummy Pig comes to pick up Peppa and George. She has brought a computer. "I can't mend that," says Grandpa Pig. "It's not broken," says Mummy Pig. "I've got a new computer, so I thought you might like my old one." Granny and Grandpa Pig aren't sure if they need a computer. "What does it do?" asks Granny Pig. Peppa shows them how the computer works. "Look, Granny, you can write letters," says Peppa. "The best thing the computer does is play Happy Mrs. Chicken," says Peppa. "When you press this button, she lays an egg. George is the best at Happy Mrs. Chicken." George shows Granny and Grandpa Pig what to do. "Perhaps we should keep the computer," says Grandpa Pig. "Thank you." "Bye, Granny and Grandpa," says Peppa. The next day, Peppa and George are having lunch. "I wonder how Granny and Grandpa Pig are getting on with the computer," says Daddy Pig. The telephone rings. It is Grandpa Pig. "I need your help," he says. "There is a problem with the computer." "What's the problem, Grandpa Pig?" asks Daddy Pig. "Happy Mrs. Chicken has laid so many eggs it has broken the computer," says Grandpa Pig. "We'll come round and pick it up," says Daddy Pig. By the time Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig get there, Grandpa Pig has taken the computer to his shed. He has found a book called How Computers Work, which tells him how to fix the computer. "There, that should do it," says Grandpa Pig. "Hooray! My grandpa is the best at mending things," says Peppa. "So you don't want us to take the computer away?" asks Mummy Pig. "No," says Grandpa Pig. "I need it for important work." "For letters and numbers?" asks Mummy Pig. "No," says Grandpa Pig. "To beat Granny Pig's Happy Mrs. Chicken score." "I laid 4,020 eggs," says Granny Pig. "Wow," everyone gasped. "So I've got some catching up to do," says Grandpa Pig. Grandpa Pig loves playing Happy Mrs. Chicken. Everyone loves playing Happy Mrs. Chicken. And that's the end of the stories. I hope you enjoyed them. If you did, check out my Peppa playlist for some more videos. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.